Hello and welcome to Worldview Connections. I'm Isaac Matthews, and this is part 11 of the Philosophy of Religion. What is epistemology? We're going to take a few videos to get through this one. According to the online dictionary, it's the theory of knowledge, especially with regard to its methods, validity, and scope. Epistemology is the investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion. So you have truths, you have beliefs. Do you have knowledge? Do you have poorly justified true beliefs? Epistemological questions, and these are some of them. You can feel free to pause it and read over these. But I wonder, are religious and faith claims able to be empirically known? People can subjectively know them by their feelings, but can they be seen, enough evidence of the senses to see, hear, touch, etc.? In previous videos, I've presented arguments from professional atheists and theists concerning many faith claims. And there are many public figures who have dedicated their lives arguing or fighting for and against religious ideas which have been taught as truth for thousands of years. Along the bottom here, some of these I haven't shown in previous videos. On the left bottom is Frank Turek. Moving to the right is David Silverman. He was former president of the Atheist organization. Frank Turek is a Christian apologist. Leading to the next one to the right in the center is Francis S. Collins, and to the right is Richard Dawkins. I've talked about them on another video. And on the bottom right, far right, is Dan Barker. He is a former Baptist Christian who is now atheist advocate. You may or may not have heard of some of these people. According to the Pew Research, 83% of humanity believe God exists at varying levels of certainty. I wonder, what is their method of knowing or epistemology? And then you have 9% of humanity who identify as atheists and are certain that there is no God. Again, what is their method of knowing this? So at each end of the spectrum of this spectrum of belief, how do you know there are no gods or there is a God? So you have the 83%, you have the 9%. 90% of humanity claims certainty about God existing or not existing. Now there's, again, varying levels of certainty, but they answer, they feel pretty certain. But what is their method of knowing or epistemology? There are a few examples from my first video, part 1 of this Philosophy of Religion series. The rhetoric and claims of certainty. And I personally avoid this rhetoric or these claims of certainty. When people say, I know that my religion is true. I know the Bible is God's word. How do we know God exists and religious claims are true? How do we avoid the pitfall of infinite regress? Or in other words, does epistemology apply to everything? We'll be getting into that later as well in the next video. Case number 1 example. My neighbor's claim of being abducted by aliens. What is good evidence? Do I need videos, pictures, some kind of artifacts? Leave a comment for ideas you may have. What would you do if your neighbor, your friend, or a loved one claimed that they were abducted by aliens? So what evidence would an atheist accept in order to believe that God exists? We're going to finish the video off with some of these responses to an informal survey that Worldview Connections representative Isaac Matthews I administered on Facebook. Hundreds of atheists in 3 private Facebook groups, estimating around 15,000 members total collectively in all 3 groups. They responded to the following question. What would you take as an acceptable level of proof or evidence that God exists? Here are just a few of the answers we received. Again, and I want you, the viewer of this video, to think, what would you take as acceptable evidence that God exists?